On weigh-in this morning, Snazzytavi does it again in a brilliant Zabeel Classic contest with La Crique. We chat to Snazzy's trainer, Graham Richardson. Tension, drama and a protest in Auckland Guineas that had it all, with Yoldi getting the chocolates in the Group 2. Hit a bell, dings the bell as a 3-year-old with some talent, claiming the 8 Carat Classic crown. There's a new 2-year-old on the scene. Yes, it really was a great day for Cambridge stud, with Ramala getting into Karaka Million's contention. Sam Wynn gets success as a trainer and a rider on Pivotal 10, who notches another win and a good start to her career. Yep, an excellent Boxing Day indeed. Great racing, close finishes and good crowds. A fantastic festive feast for thoroughbred fans. Very good morning to you on this Christmassy or Boxing Day, post-Boxing Day edition of Weigh-In. Great to have you with us here on Trackside. Plenty to unpack. I'll bring in the team as always. Aidan with us this morning. Emily Murphy, she was amazing, wasn't she? We might as well start with Snazzytavi and La Crique as well, to be fair, but what a race, what a contest, and what can't Snazzytavi do at the moment?
Absolutely, it was an epic battle, wasn't it, up the straight between those two great mares, seeing them do their thing, Aidan. It wasn't just the Group 1, the undercard as well. For Cambridge Stud, on a day that they sponsor, It was an absolute standout, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sure was. And for Graham Richard and Rogan Norville, you know, they've been able to now make it 3 out of the last 4 Zabeel Classics. Snazzytavi, and what you say, was just such an engaging finish. You know, 2 very high, you know, they're super mares going head to head after, you know, a good setup to the race too. We had a really strong Zabeel Classic this year. I think this was the year we got quality back into that race, and to see those 2, you know, star mares fighting it out, fantastic.
Let's take a look back at it. It was Snazzytavi from La Crique, El Vencedor and Ladies Man.
Snazzytavi, obviously the short price favourite, can't really go past her.
She looks the obvious one, doesn't she? But it is a Group 1 race. We are set for a start. Let's bring it on. Gates open in the Cambridge Stud Zabeel Classic. First away, Skyman out wide, going forward, El Vencedor, Campionessa right in the party in the early stages. Snazzytavi, she's still back 4th last, followed by Ladies Man, no moves as yet. 300 metres to go, El Vencedor got away by 2 from Campionessa. Now Snazzytavi out into the clear with La Crique, Ladies Man down the outside. El Vencedor still in front at the 200, coming after it now, Snazzytavi with La Crique. It's El Vencedor, Snazzytavi ranged up, La Crique coming with it, Snazzytavi and La Crique the mares. La Crique kicked on the inside and made it very interesting right on the line. La Crique and Snazzytavi. It could be Snazzytavi. La Crique came with it. They've had a great battle, these 2 wonderful mares. It looks as though Cambridge Stud giveth and Cambridge Stud taketh, with Snazzytavi in the Cambridge Stud Zabeel Classic.
What a race, what a horse race. These 2 great mares going head to head. La Crique and Snazzytavi, head up, head down, right to the wire.
Richie, you've just won the Zabeel Classic for the 3rd time in 4 years. How special is that?
I thought you got rolled then. We run down the back way because you couldn't get through the front, and we were sure we'd run second. But and everybody slap on your back saying, well done. I'm quite superstitious of things like that, but gosh, she's a good horse, isn't she?
Yeah, what does it say about her, that ability to really fight and dig in when it mattered most?
Well, it's a strong field, and you know, she just bet a very, very good horse. 2 of the better mares in the country, so over the moon.
On the line, I thought I had it. You know, La Crique, I must give credit to her, was super brave. She rallied back at me. I sort of had a neck on her in the last 100, and she rallied back at me. But yeah, this filly also showed a lot of bravery and stuck her head out. And yeah, look, obviously we were worried about the pace they did end up crawling. I got on the back of La Crique, which I really wanted to do. I thought Nab would give me a nice pull through. And you know, just circumstances of the race. If they went quicker, she wins easier. I just had to press her. When they did go for it at the 500, I had to ask her to run there, and she gave me that good kick. And I got about a half length on La Crique, and then she just became sort of one pace to me, because that's what she does over the ground. But it was a fantastic win. Full credit to both horses. It was. You don't want to go down on a $1.80 favourite, and you don't want it to be that close either. You want it to be easy, but look, we're all here for the spectacle. It was a great fight, and I'm just really proud of her that she got on top.
It was a fantastic edition of the race. All right, Snazzytavi from La Crique, the two mares going toe to toe, and we can bring in Snazzytavi's trainer, or co-trainer Graham Richardson. Graham, first of all, a massive congratulations. Watching it again, was it still a bit of a nerve-wracking watch, even though you knew the result?
Well, that's the first time I've seen the replay, so yeah, and honestly, what I said on TV, I thought we got beat, and Karen and I had to go around the back way because we couldn't get down the front way because there's so many people there, and we couldn't hear the final result or anything, so we weren't sure, and people pat me on the back and saying, well done, but there wasn't a final result, so I am quite superstitious about that. I don't shake anybody's hand until it's confirmed.
Graham, talk to me.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I can imagine it was incredibly unbelievable. Talk to me about the pre-chat with Warren Kennedy. How did you see the race unfolding, and did it go the way that you wanted in running?
Well, we didn't think there'd be a lot of speed, and that was right. And off and on all day, actually, it was like that in all the most of the races. But he just gets on so well with her, and we wanted to follow La Crique, and obviously thought that was the hardest to beat, and yeah, it just panned out perfectly. Like it was a very, very good ride. So yeah, it was obviously over the moon. It was such a thrill, you know, because we planned this race 8 months ago just to try and win this race. That was the goal.
And you executed the plan perfectly. I know you've had some nervous times in the build-up to these races with having such a short price favourite. What was the build-up to the Zabeel Classic like for you and the horse and the stable as a whole?
Well, you know, it is a massive team effort, and all the staff did a fantastic job. And she's just getting better and better because even with her maturity and her attitude, and she loves a stable life, loves people around her. But you know, to get it right on the day is so hard because things go wrong. You've got, if you have foot issues, whatever, you know, little issues like that, they can get colds and so on. But everything went well.
Graham, obviously, congratulations again from me this morning. One thing, it was a boss ride, obviously, from Warren Kennedy. One thing he said there at the end of that was, you know, she gets to a flat spot at the end of her race at 2,000 metres. Was that sort of news to you, or do you think 2,000 really is her pet trip?
I think 2,000 to probably 2,400 metres is a pet trip. But it's like anything, if you're coming from off the pace, and they're walking, it certainly makes it harder, you know. So, I agree with them that if they run quicker, it might have been, you know, well, I shouldn't say easy because it certainly wasn't, because man, it was a good field. But I agree with his statement.
One thing you said there, you're maybe even looking for further. So is that why you're going to look at sort of maybe keeping her on a little bit of the fresh side ahead of the Herbie Dyke Stakes?
Well, she's very clean-winded, but yes, so she'll possibly trial. I think the Pukekohe trial's on the 21st. She's actually, the great thing about her was we sent her straight out to the Cambridge Stud at the Karaka farm last night after the race, and she ate up everything last night, which is great. But then she'll have a week out there, and probably a week at Kylie Hoskins' place, just at the beach, and then come down and trial on the 21st at Pukekohe, and then straight into the Herbie Dyke, which is the 8th. So if all works out.
You talk about the huge team involved, Graham, and I know obviously a big part of Snazzytavi is Cambridge stud Brendan and Joe Lindsay, and they had a remarkable day yesterday. What has it been like working with them, with Snazzytavi?
Oh, they're so good. You know, they've been, you know, they've always said, I'll leave it to you, and which is fantastic. You know, we've had long-term goals all the way, and probably, well, our next goal is the Herbie Dyke, and then possibly, I think it's the Bone Crush, and then we may even go, if she's still up, to the Australian Cup, so, and then we'll tip her out.
Australian, you know, that must be really exciting, Richie. And obviously, you had a stable in Mornington for quite some time. How exciting would it be to get this mare over there and test her against the best of the Aussies at weight for age?
Oh, gee, it's a dream come true. You know, she's obviously right up there, and in New Zealand, she definitely is. It's obviously it's a big step up again in Australia, but Defibrillate running that race one year in the Australian Cup, and he got beaten a length and a half, and he was a very good horse, but she might be a little bit better, you know.
Graham, it's been a race that you've had such a good association with. Tell me about that. What do you think has led to you winning such a number of Zabeel Classics?
Yeah, well, Rogan and I we've been fortunate to have good horses around us. We're so lucky, you know. Tiptronic, you know, I think bought him as a yearling for about 100k. Was a lot of money then, but he was a lovely horse. And to be quite honest, if you want to win big races, you have to buy nice horses, and it's as simple as that. It's a simple equation. If you're going to be second in the bidding war, you're not going to have to win big races. So you just have to put your hand up and show a bit of courage.
Just lastly, before we let you go, I should probably ask about your other Group 1 winner in your stable, and a man across from me on the table here could probably tell me, but since we've got you, how is Bonnie Lass? Obviously she had to take a few days off work, but how is she, and has it affected preparation at all?
Well, it was obviously first up disappointing at Ellerslie, but then I just knew she wasn't, that she didn't pull up that, well, she pulled up okay, but she just didn't finish off like she always tries. And so I got a scope at the races, and they said that, and she'd shown no signs of anything, of coughing or anything like that, and she had a lot of mucus and all that down her throat, and the vet said that would definitely stop her. So had her treated, she's back to normal, and she heads to the Telegraph, which obviously is a big step, but she was close to winning it last year. It's going to be very, very strong this year. God, there's some good sprinters around.
Some good horses around, and one of them, well, more than one of them, but particularly one of them in your barn, Snazzytavi. Thanks for joining us this morning, Graham. Well done, and we look forward to seeing her jump out again next.
Me too. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Good on you, Graham. You too. Graham Richardson there, of course, co-trainer of Snazzytavi. What a horse she is. We can hear from the Beaten Brigade now, starting with Michael McNabb on La Crique.
Oh, super. Proud of her. I actually thought she'd got the bob in, but unfortunately we didn't, but she couldn't have run any better. Proud.
Snazzytavi did put some space on you. Did you think the race was over, or did you expect her to kick back like she did?
No, at Pookie obviously it was a lot shorter. She took a while to build. The other day, same again, but just maybe on the softer track, that it's got holding a little bit of moisture, so she just didn't ping off it early, but she was solid late, so good effort. Well, horse are saying it's the best horse in New Zealand, so she's run well.
Super performance. We knew he goes good round Ellerslie. He was in a very good rhythm throughout, kicked hard on the corner, and I sort of said to myself, these mares are going to have to be pretty good to run him down, but obviously they're superstars, you know, and credit to them, very good horses.
I thought it was a good run. He, from the draw, just was a bit tricky. We had to just go back. We got onto the back of Snazzytavi and tried to put her in a pocket across the top, but she was going too good, and when they quickened, it just left him a little bit flat-footed, but he hit the line quite well.
Every chance, had a good run behind the leader, Pretender, top of the straight, but it's getting a bit older now, and these young horses are coming through. They just found them a little bit better today, but she was ever so brave and ran well.
That was the beaten jockeys out of the Zabeel Classic. Let's head across to the wall where Aidan and Emily are standing by, and to unpack the key moments in this race and how it unfolded.
Yeah, exactly. And what we'll do, Emily, we'll get a look at this, the drone vision, especially from the start. We'll see a few things here. One of them is that El Vencedor really does jump well. Further in, Dionysus jumped really nicely on the inside. Obviously, they were never going to really push forward. Skyman pushing some pressure forward on the outside. And, of course, Campionessa taking up a good position there. I reckon she's run just about as well as she did last year, and still running fifth. It was just a super rendition of this race.
It was, and Warren Kennedy was able to get himself into, whilst albeit a position further back than midfield, still a pretty comfortable position. And he, as he mentioned in his post-race interview, he's just getting on the back of La Crique, which is the perfect toe into the feature race. Ladies' Man sort of had no option from that wider draw to go back. But El Vencedor in that comfortable front-running position, setting the tempo, as we heard from the connections of, obviously, Snazzytavi. There wasn't a whole lot of pace, was there?
An interesting point of this is the Joe Doyle and Hoyo Sosbom, who's been really good and behind Snazzytavi the last couple. He's just left left the door open for Michael McNabb just to take the 1-1 through here. So he's just been able to be, he's found himself posted 3 wide when he really could have snared that 1-1 for himself, and it would have changed the complex of this race because La Crique would have been 1 spot further back, Snazzytavi would have been 1 spot further back as well. So there was just a really interesting facet of the middle stages of the race.
Yeah, and you can just see that sort of unfolding at this point, can't you, as they sort of begin to make their moves. Snazzytavi just being urged along and encouraged into that rhythm, and as you can see, these horses just fanning out. Ladies Man popping out wide, El Vencedor just building the tempo, building, where they can sprint. But interesting that had there been more tempo, could Snazzytavi have potentially won by further as they sort of begin to make their moves. Warren Kennedy just wanting to get into clear running to be able to get the momentum to get Snazzytavi going.
It was a patient ride too from Warren because he really could have had a chance of going outside Meaningful Star, but he intends to, opts to stay on the back of La Crique, pushes Higher Sassbomb out of the way. Ladies Man makes ground out wide, but at this stage, El Vencedor was set up what potentially could have been a winning break. He's just been run down by a couple of really smart ones.
He has, and I think we can definitely keep El Vencedor in mind when it comes to a bone crusher because he races so well at Ellerslie, and we've seen that previously, but it really was magnificent to see those 2 mares toe for toe up the straight. And the full credit to La Crique because,
absolutely,
as we saw very clearly, Snazzytavi put a head on, a solid margin on La Crique. She's fought back in the closing stages and she's really given it her absolute all. So, yeah, a thrilling edition of the Group 1.
Excellent, it really was. It was an excellent addition, that is for sure. Snazzytavi, what a horse she is. And a spoiler alert, we might talk a little bit more about this in our moments of the week later in the show. Alrighty, we'll take a break. On the other side, we look at the other features out of Ellerslie.
You got the way to numbing the pain. Don't start running away.
Good to have you with us on this post-Boxing Day edition of Weigh-In, and we've looked at the Zabeel Classic. Now it's time to look at the other big races on the card for the 3-year-olds. First of all, the Auckland Guineas, won by Yoldi.
Shores wire ropes, Auckland Guineas, and they sprint full home now. 400 metres to go. Midnight Edition, the leader from Suit Yourself. Yuldi, and behind them looking for space. And behind these Whiskey and Roses, Damask Rose, she's been presented down the outside. Checkmate looks to run on with Customise. It's still Midnight Edition, the roughie in front. Yuldi's trying to pick it up on the outside. Out wide, Damask Rose, Checkmate. Midnight Edition just in front. Yuldi's trying to go towards it as they go towards the line. I reckon a boil over here. Midnight Edition in a photo with Yuldi. To be a nostril in it. Oh, gee, it's almost dead heat.
Matt Cartwright nearly stole it, and Michael McNabb's just come off his back and just pipped him on the post, I think.
And he starts dictating me out here, and then bumps me. That's a dead heat.
You just won the Group 2 Auckland Guineas. Obviously not in the circumstances you wanted to, but it deserved the win nonetheless.
It was deserved, but it's not nice, especially for the connections of the horse that did dead heat past the post, but there was minimal interference, and I suppose when that's the case and there is no margin, I think probably the right decision's been made, but I do feel sorry for them. But great for Lib and Bruce and all the connections, and yeah, looking forward to seeing him just improve further off that.
Oh, he was super. He threw it away the other day at Tarapa. Blinkers went on today. What was building, I felt, to win the race. It was minimal interference, but it sort of put me off my stride. So ripped to see him win in Group 2, so happy.
Sometimes you don't need to say too much to get your point across, do you? Just in that protest room with Michael McNabb there saying, well, it was a dead heat and I got bumped. So when you get bumped in a dead heat, those small margins really come into it, don't they? You were in the room.
Yeah, well, even before that, Andrew Forsman, he sort of indicated to us, you know, even when the dead heat was saying, oh, we might just have a look at the tapes here. He said, you know, I've got an obligation to my owners. Basically, that's what he was saying. He didn't really, you know, want to be taking a Group 2 win off the connections of Midnight Edition. But there was contact, and it was 50 metres out, and they had to have a go. And in the end, they get a bigger slice of this prize money and Group 2 stand alone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Midnight Edition is a great follow from the race, obviously, with what the horse has been able to do. And although they didn't get the dead heat or the win, they come away with a horse that's pretty exciting for the future and can be competitive in these top 3-year-old races. And for Yoldi, the blinker's just making such a difference. We saw that run at Te Rapa when pretty much had the race all wrapped up and Risque Ruler came over the top. The ears were going, the concentration was lacking. The blinkers go on and we get to see the true Yoldi. And it's good to see Yoldi back at his best because he left New Zealand with such a big reputation when he went to Australia and obviously put that into good effect with that third in the Anzac Stakes. And then things just didn't go right in the spring. They spelled the horse and they've returned, and good to see him picking up a feature. In terms of the NZB Kiwi and targets where they can go, there's lots of exciting options for them. Just a $50,000 purchase by our Drossen, great for Bruce Perry bloodstock and JML bloodstock and also Waikato Stud, of course. So I think a nice result all round and plenty to unpack with the beaten horses, Aidan. I don't know, checkmate, but it was a really good run. Just hits that flat spot, but then really came to the line strongly. Just screams Derby to me. I know they're looking at some shorter targets, but all of these exciting 3-year-olds. Damask Rose, another one, spoke to the connections this morning. They just felt the horse got too far back and the race didn't change a lot in complexion. And obviously with that second up run, maybe a little bit flat, but they're going to trial her in the meantime. But as you mentioned pre-show, plenty on the clock to suggest that Damask Rose can come out and turn things around.
Well, the previous 2 races were both clear swoopers races where in the first 6 and running, only one horse had finished in the first 6, and that was the horse who finished 6th, Santa Catalina in the Special Conditions Maiden. We get to the 3-year-old races, and these races will run completely differently. So, we saw Midnight Edition lead, Yoldi take the trail. The horse who was on the outside, Suit Yourself, runs 4th. The horse who was 3 wide and 3rd, Checkmate, runs into 3rd. And the horse who was in 6th, full force, run 5th. So of the first 6 in running, there's the first 5 finishes. It was just completely different. So you've got to be really forgiving on Damask Rose, who has run the quickest last 800, 600, second quickest last 400 of the race. Osteria's run the quickest last 400 of the race from back in the field as well. But real merit for, Yoldi is a horse who's only going to get better and better with more racing. And the Bruce Wallbank story is just a great one. He's only got 1 horse in training, and he just about pulled off a Group 2 yesterday at a massive price.
Yeah, sure did. And I just can't imagine the emotions of what unfolded. You go to a close finish, potentially you've won it, then you get the bonus of a dead heat, and then it goes to the steward's room and it's overturned. It must have just been an emotional roller coaster for the connections, but they still have the Group 2 placing beside the name and a horse to go on to 3-odd targets, and there's plenty of those around.
He's talking Derby. The other horse who I did speak about, just Whiskey and Roses, will now go to the paddock as well.
We can go to the beaten jocks, I think, first of all, and that is obviously Midnight Edition's jockey first up.
Yeah, look, super run. He defied his odds. He jumped clean and just rolled forward under his own steam and travelled lovely for me. He did give a really good kick around the bend and he made it awfully interesting. Unfortunately, we didn't get the bob and we got beat, but he's going really good and he's going to be a proper horse next prep. He's definitely group class.
Just talk to me about the protest. Did you think it was 50-50?
I was probably not going to win it, to be honest. But look, we went in there, we tried to win it, but it's so hard when it's a dead heat. Any type of bump or anything can make a difference, and stewards probably weren't on my side, but look, still second's better than third.
Yeah, I thought he went pretty good. He was trapped 3 wide, but I had cover most of the way around, and when Satito got in, I was able to just creep up off a really slow run race. I don't think it really suited her. When I asked her to quicken top the straight, her wheels were just spinning and she never found a finish. It's not like her, normally she finishes well, but it was pretty much a flat run from her.
Look, I thought she was credible in defeat. We took her back from the wide gate. It was never going to be a simple task. She presented into the turn well. It was a leader-dominated race. She had to make up 6 lengths from the turn, and it was just a breach too far from her.
That was the beaten jockeys out of the Auckland Guineas. The other race in terms of the 3-year-olds was the 8 Carat Classic, and that was won very closely again by Hitterbell.
300 metres to go. Sethito's done some work. Romilly's there to challenge. Still there, Hitterbell, and behind them, Prosegur's looking for a way through. Is going to get the last run at them. It's on the inside. Hitterbell lifting again from on the outside. Sethito, Prosegur, and out wide. Real Class. Sethito and Hitterbell having a head bother here. Hitterbell wins the Hallmark Stud 8 Carat Classic.
Stephen, mighty front-running performance. How proud of you of Hitterbell today?
Oh, super proud. She's, yeah, she's really stood up again. You know, she won the fillies race at Wingatui, and to come and win an 8 Carat. And oh, look, I'm thrilled for Courtney too. She's, you know, rode the horse last time. She rated the horse to perfection today, and you know, she's a big part of our stable, and I'm very proud of her.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. She's such a hard-trying horse. She deserves it.
Yeah. Did you come here with real confidence out of the Wingatui win, or obviously it was a step up?
Yeah, it was a step up again, but she's just been, her work's been great through the week. She's the type of horse that nothing really worries her. Like even when she got in, when I landed in front, she switched off very quickly. Sort of even had me a bit worried around the turn, but no, she's just the ultimate racehorse.
Hitterbell from Sethito, Real Class and Prosegur. Hitterbell bought for just $9,500 by Stephen Marsh and Dylan Johnson Bloodstock. She's now won more than $200,000.
She's tough, isn't she? When she gets to the front and they challenge her, she keeps on digging. Such a tough effort by the 3-year-old. And awesome for Courtney Barnes to have got that listed victory last time and then bring that to Ellerslie and win on a premier day. And I like the fact that the O'Leary's stakes form, it stacks up, and it stacked up there yesterday. And Courtney's obviously got a great relationship with the horse, and for Sarah Devisic, who still part owns and bred the horse. It's a lovely story. Spoke to Stephen Marsh this morning. A week in the paddock for Hitterbell before they decide what they're going to do next.
She really did control the race, Courtney, and good on her. You know, I think that's one of the biggest wins of her career. Stephen Marsh has been a really big supporter of her as well. Like you say, just love that story. It is real rags to riches. Again, this was a race that wasn't run with a lot of speed. Of the first 3 in running, they finished 1, 2 and 4. There were a couple of maybe a little bit disappointing runs. Romilly, who again was caught wide. We saw this a couple of times from Blake Shin, where he stayed wide to try and find his, to find the time to come across, but then he's trapped 4 wide at this point, 3 wide when Prosegur kicks up underneath, and it just wasn't an easy watch with Sethito.
No, it certainly wasn't. I think full credit to the filly because she has run so well, albeit being posted wide with no cover. So I think in terms of following her forward, you've got a filly who's run well above what she should have to have finished off into that second is a fair effort for her. Spoke to Andrew Scott this morning, and he said they've sort of got no decision as to where they're going to go next. They pulled up well, and they're just going to keep cracking on. So obviously plenty of 3-year-old things to come. But she didn't have she has the audacity to stick on in this and run second when she didn't need to, which I think is credit to her ability.
The other horse, just to make mention of, the horse coming down the outside, Real Class, who came from back and running and has finished 3rd, has run the quickest last 800, 600, 400, second quickest last 200. The quickest last 200 went to Reggae Queen, who's also run the second quickest last 800 and 400, another good run. Hitterbell from the front has run the second quickest last 600 of the race, which is pretty good. Real Class will back up in the Sir Patrick Hogan Stakes on 6 to 5 days time now, Newsday. So on that performance, a horse who's now gone from a Te Aroha maiden win into a Group 2 placing, it's going to be pretty hard to bowl in 6 days time.
Alrighty, let's hear from the beaten jocks, starting with Blake Shin on Sethito.
Look, she was super. The Barrier Vetus, stepping up to the mile. She had to do that bit of work in the early stages to get across.
Rory, what'd you make of her?
Yeah, very good run. Got a long way back. We sort of want to be midfield, but had to go all the way back to last. Copped a good drag into it, and she hit the line strong, sort of a Oaks horse in the making type thing.
So those 2 races obviously have an impact on, well, a couple of races going forward, but particularly the NZB Kiwi, which is in March for the 3-year-olds. Let's have a look at the market here now. And Damask Rose, I think, has maybe gone out a touch to $8. Savagely there at 8. What do you take out of these two races to potentially impact this? Obviously, Damask Rose was named as Te Akeo's slot horse for their slot for this race just yesterday.
Well, for mine, just absolutely, no cast on what the performance was yesterday. The sectionals say that she's run a really good race against the pattern. She's now confirmed as a slot holder. I think $8 is around about right, especially when we're hearing that Savagely is probably going to chase, Caulfield Guineas a week out. So, Snazzytati's obviously right there. It's obviously, we're still a little way away, aren't we? We've still got 2.5 months to go, basically, or, that sort of time frame. And there's plenty of spots, plenty of negotiations still to come, Emily.
There sure is, and I think that market is a reflection of how even the 3-year-olds are, and it is going to, things might unfold in the coming months, but it's going to come down to runs in the race, it's going to come down to draws and how things unfold. In terms of the horses that we've seen at Ellerslie already, we had a confirmation yesterday that Yaldi goes well at Ellerslie and can put itself on speed and will be right there. Damask Rose, we've seen what she can do at Ellerslie. She's got so much quality. Positive with her. She's only going to be better over the 1,500 metres. There's lots to little moving parts to fall into place, and I wonder if Yaldi will be the next potential announcement into an NZB Kiwi slot based off what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, and of course Andrew Forsman does have a slot there, so there's plenty to go around, but they can be patient as well. Sure, we can announce them early, then you're eligible for the bonuses, which is attractive as well, but then maybe you just want to make sure you're getting the right horse for your spot as well.
That's why we love the race, isn't it? Because there is so much intrigue. It's great to have a race like this in New Zealand. We've seen it with the Everest and all that sort of stuff, but just to have a race that you can build that intrigue with so many months out, of the puzzles of where horses are going, what slots are going to go with what horse and all that sort of stuff.
Don't Te Akeo know it as well? It's Boxing Day, it's the biggest race of the year. Let's announce it, let's just get it out there at the right time, and the timing's great. And I love that people can do that. Waikato Start announced theirs early, it's all the game playing that goes with it as well.
A number of these horses, obviously, for the Karaka Million 3-year-old, which is going to be a really another good sort of stepping stone if people decide to go that way. How with it being in its infancy, you don't know the best route to take to the race and how you do the preparation. Do you have a little freshen up now to get to March, or do you push on through and have, it's intriguing, and it'll only develop over the years what's the best path to get to the NZB
I wonder if
Kiwi.
they've been on the phone to Everest slot holders to figure out how they've been doing it for their big race over there. There are a couple of other races that we want to touch on from Ellerslie. The first is the Royal Descent Stakes. This was won by Provence from Aquarello and Malt Time. Aidan, I'm sure you know a bit about Provence, knowing Brent Cooper very well, and obviously Tony Ryder at Milan Park. They've always had a bit of an opinion of this horse.
Yeah, absolutely. But this was a step up. The horses also entered in the final race of the day as well. The Stella Artois. They had 2 choices. She's a 79 rater up against a 105 rater at set weights, and she's beaten Malt Time. Malt Time was very good, coming from a long way back. Short Shorts has gone up and made the pace, and then Aquarello's brought that horse up, gone past it, and then just been a sitting duck. I thought Aquarello was fabulous.
I do think Provence has run some very good races last season. I think she's a little bit underrated, and it was sort of written on the clock, wasn't it, last time at Te Rapa, what she did. When you looked at the form, you sort of could overlook it easily, but actually when you went back to the sectionals at Te Rapa, they told the tale, and she's always had a lot of ability, Provence, and I think we're going to be hearing a lot more about her in coming weeks and months. I think she's up to winning a nice race, and Aquarello, she's a beautiful type in the parade ring. She almost picks herself, and she picks up another nice little valuable placing as well off the back of such a successful trip to the South Island.
Just on the clock, Malt Time's run the quickest last 800, 600, 400, 200. Provence second quickest 8, 6 and 200, and in preview the second quickest 400. A lot of those horses will now head towards the Westbury Classic on Karaka Million night, but there's also that option of them heading to a Rich Hill Mile on New Year's Day. I don't think too many will go that way. Malt Time's in falter. Hello, Zane, who had a day to remember yesterday as well.
That's a very good lead for us there, Aidan, because we can talk about the 2-year-olds. This was one of the more interesting races earlier in the card, and there was plenty of money for the Te Akeo runner in Belle du Monde, who, as you can see, led them up into the home straight. But a superb day for Cambridge Stud. Started off superbly here with Ramallah.
This is a demolition job, wasn't it? I don't think you can underestimate how hard it is to win on debut, and not to do it at a midweek meeting where it's nice and quiet, but to do it at a feature race day with a big crowd, with the pressure on. And Ramallah has just done this on raw ability. You can see the greenness at this point, Aidan, when he sort of goes to ask the horse for more, and she sort of runs around a bit, and she's a little bit lost when she comes off the bridle. At this point, she just lays in to find the other horses, but raw ability to get up over the top. And based on what she's done on debut, they generally improve off a debut performance and get more professional. So some exciting things to come from
Yeah,
her.
absolutely. I thought all of the first three were very good here. Fantastic for Cambridge Stud, obviously. And hello, Unsung, you know, first New Zealand winner for the stallion. He'd impressed in a couple of trials prior. Lance Noble's done a really good job with this horse. Again, a very good Warren Kennedy ride. I wonder whether if Sierra Rook just hadn't had to come off heels, that they would have been a lot closer. At the 250 metre mark, George Rooks had to steady, come off heels of Ramallah, and then it's giving that horse 2 lengths. And has taken ground off it in the closing stage. I thought a really good run from Sierra Leone. And those two horses have come from last and second to last on the bend. So it says that Beldemont's run actually had a lot of merit as well. I think there's real improvement there too.
Yeah, and in terms of Ramallah, of course, for them, they've had the run at Ellerslie now. They can really take a nice gentle path towards the Karaka Million, which is certainly exciting for them. She's not a typical 2-year-old. You would have seen her yourself in the parade. Quite tall, quite angular. Normally you see the 2-year-olds, they're all power and muscle, but she's a different type, so she's only going to get better with more and more time.
We'll talk more about the Karaka Million shortly, but first of all, we can hear from the connection, starting with the trainer, Lance Noble.
Oh, I'm just thrilled. Look, she'd won her trials nicely, and but she hasn't shown a lot at home. But she was just giving you that feeling that she might do something like that. But we would have been happy if she'd learned something. But the way she did it so professionally and how she got off them and hit the line so strong, very, very excited.
Obviously the trials were there, you knew the ability she had from at home, and it sounds like you just weren't 100% sure what to expect today.
Not really, having her first start. She did gallop well here on Thursday, but she just looks like a pretty natural racehorse to me, and with a good brain, which makes it so much easier.
How much benefit will she take out of this experience today?
Oh, I mean, you couldn't wish for a better education. Warren just rode her a treat. She relaxed, she hit the line, had something to chase, so no, fantastic.
What's next?
Well, she's one that the stud bought from the sales, and, you know, she's Karaka eligible, so it'd be hard to tell Brendan no.
Warren, you came here with a horse who had won a couple of trials. What were your expectations coming in?
Look, we were really realistic about it. It was a tough field. There's a lot of horses that have had runs and close-up runs, you know, and they were improving. So, look, she was always going to be very green. She won her 2 trials, but trials are trials in the end, you know. She just lacked that race experience, but she did really well today. She really surprised us. We just thought if she's finding the line, we'll be happy. But, yeah, she found the line really strong. She hopped out well, and I thought I'm going to commit with her. And she sort of pricked her ears halfway up that hill, which could be daunting for a first-timer, and she just got trapped forward. I thought, I'm going to drag her back. Got her back, and because of that, she started to over-race a little bit. You know, no fault of the fillies, probably my fault, but, yeah, when she got clear air, she quick up really nicely and had a good look around. Shied quite dramatically towards Blake's horse, but look, she had all the momentum going forward. She was always going to win.
Yeah, with an eye to the Karaka Millions, how exciting is that performance today? Yeah,
absolutely. We haven't had one that's put their hand up, so for her to put her hand up in this fashion, I thought it was a tough field, and she put up a really good win. Yeah, lots of improvement to come. Win at Ellerslie, always a bonus. So yeah, always looking towards Karaka Millions.
Well, we talked about how the last couple of races impacted that 3-year-old market for the NZB Kiwi. Well, things have changed here, that is for sure. Ramallah now joint favourite at $5 there, and why not after that performance?
Well, it's funny, yesterday we didn't even know Ramallah existed, and here we are with a new joint favourite in the Karaka Million. Things are changing fast in terms of the 2-year-olds, and they still have the potential to change, especially with the Eclipse Stakes just, 5 days
There's
away.
so much to unfold with this race. You know, we've got the Wellesley the following week, and obviously the key build-up, which has always been that Sunday meeting. This year it's on the 12th of January, which is, you know, 13 days away from Karaka Million's time. On that, Romalo, I can definitely see what the reasons why we're coming in, but I thought Sierra Leone was the equal of that horse, and I wouldn't want to be dropping Belle de Monde out of that. Like you say, we'll know more in a week's time, then we'll know more in 2 weeks' time, and it is still an open book, that race.
Are there any 2-year-olds to come? Does anyone have any hiding?
I'm sure there are. Like we saw one step out on Boxing Day, but we're going to see debutantes coming out. By all accounts, Te Aroha on the 4th of January. There's a couple of really nice ones heading there. Even to New Plymouth next week. There's going to be some nice 2-year-olds going around yet. So
much intrigue around some of our feature races still to come. We're going to take a break here on Weigh In. On the other side, we look at the rest of the New Zealand racing, and we head across the ditch as well. Welcome back to Weigh In. We've had a look at everything out of Ellerslie, but there were a couple of other local meetings to get stuck into. A big old traditional day down at Wingatui for their Boxing Day, and a really, really nice win from a horse with a bit of promise, Pivotal 10, ridden and trained by Sam Wynn.
It's nice, wasn't it, to see Sam Wynn get that. It's a unique double to be able to train and ride a big winner on the programme. That's a hat-trick of victories for Pivotal 10, and that obviously on the heavy surface there today. Raced by Colin Whiteman, just a $15,000 purchase out of the Valachi Downs dispersal sale. I know they've sort of spaced the races, and they think that this horse, Aidan, is going to improve with more time.
It's a really patient ride from Sam. She took the trail. We saw on the inside the runner-up, Lil Zena, come through under Tini Komanyagi. Obviously, they're close mates, Tina and Sam, but this would be an immensely satisfying win for Sam Wynn, because it's a stakes win that she's trained herself, ridden herself. The riding was on the wall, obviously. The previous couple were both really good wins, including the previous start win when she just spaced them in a good quality open 3-year-old. She's a progressive filly. I'm not too sure, just reading now, whether they give her a little bit of time off or they do sort of try and get her to 1,600 metres. She's quite a fast filly. I don't know whether this might be the extent of her range or not, but she's got quality, so who knows about the step up.
Well, you mentioned Colin Whiteman. I think he said, I saw on Love Racing, that he said that he thinks she'll be a lot better as a 4-year-old, so probably plenty of promise to come from her. You mentioned Sam Wynn as well, and we can hear from her after her win on board and training Pivotal 10.
Yeah, I really can't describe it. Actually, it's very fulfilling, and I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I'm getting, so I'm just delighted to get the job done. You know, she's a beautiful filly.
She got a beautiful run too. You're in the right spot, but you didn't wait for the inside.
No, well, look, it was actually plan B, because I thought naturally she'd lead, but Krishna was happy enough going. It was a bit quick for me, but delighted that she was still travelling to kind of hook out, you know. She actually changed leg a bit, got a bit unbalanced, so I left her alone for a stride and really dug deep. When I seen Tina coming, I said, here we go. But no, she's a good filly.
Yeah, look, she's developing into a good racehorse too, because she has been a bit of a handful at times.
Yeah, definitely. She's toey, you know, like she's very dominant type of filly. Like she's the boss. She's the youngest in the team, but she's the strongest in that way, you know. But look, she's been a dream. She's very easy. Doesn't show you an inch at home. Like leading into today, it's just question mark, because she does it for the track, you know. But no, she's, and credit to the owner, you know, giving me the opportunity, so I'm grateful.
All right, up to 14 today on a heavy track. That bodes well for maybe even trying to get to the mile?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think her attitude helps, and travels very kind, you know, but it's up to me to make sure she gets the mile.
Yeah, congratulations, a big day for you.
Thanks so much, I appreciate it.
Yeah, well done to you, Sam Wynn. A great achievement to do both the riding and the training of a winner there. There was also an open 1200 at Wingatui. I'll spit my words out eventually. This was won by Buoyant from Bellucci, Master Marco and Goldie's Chance, Aidan.
Yeah, really nice to see Buoyant come back and do this. We remember him from winning that Steward Stakes at Riccarton a couple of years ago. Sabin Kirkland then tried the horse in Victoria. Just didn't quite come up to his best form. And he'd come back here with, 3 fourth placings. It looked as though he'd been building into this. But even here, Emily, and now we know he's a horse who's well seasoned, but he does a lot wrong. Look at his head going out to the right, then they changed the stick over, and he goes right back onto the inside again, or they actually didn't change the stick, he just lay in. So great to see Diego Monte de Oca come back. He's been doing a lot of riding for Tiago, both in Matamata and back down in Riccarton, but in the end, comprehensive from a Group 3 winner back into an open company race.
Yeah, dominant victory, wasn't it? He really pinned the ears back and gave it a go late. And obviously, when stopped laying in and straightened up and got motoring, really powered to the line strongly. So a nice result for Connections.
The other local meeting we had was, of course, Otaki for their Boxing Day races, and there was an open 1600 there, and this was what they call a turn up for the books. Sword in Stone paid $126 to win this race.
It was an odd race, and yeah, there's a bit going on there. Like you can see the horse just getting into an awkward spot, and you can see a lot of horses from the back making moves, and then there was also drama after the line as well. He's a doozy. He had the trail, just looked to come out. There's no run there at that point. They've got to switch back. You can see times ticking coming down the very outside, and then getting the split. A really nice run from a horse who obviously has the ability, but just didn't have that respect in the market.
He's beaten some pretty nice horses here too in terms of the quality of the race. Obviously some tried and tested open handicap performers. It was probably the drama after the line that also attracted the attention, but in terms of what Sword and Stone has been able to do, it's a very nice result for the team, and obviously was pretty well performed in Hong Kong. Just look at that record on BreedNet. Second in the Standard Chartered Chater Cup in Hong Kong, and obviously third in the Longines Hong Kong Bars. So a talented performer who's come back and still racing at its peak.
Well, talking talented performers come back, hasn't Stephen Gray made an impact since he's been back here? Obviously Singapore's closed down. He's come back, joined his dad Kevin in partnership with, they were a potent combination out of Patea or Waverley when I was growing up in Taranaki, and now obviously Stephen's gone overseas, applied his craft really well, and he's come back in, and I think he's just reinvigorated that stable. Kevin's done a super job, and he's just one of the greatest contributors, ambassadors to New Zealand racing. But to have his boy there training with him, it really has reinvigorated that stable.
Yeah, well said. You both mentioned a bit of an incident after that race. We can show you this vision of quite a bad slip here. This was race 6 on the card. Look out wide. Look out wide to times ticking with Jim Chung on board. Really quite a serious slip there. And then obviously Lily Sutherland's Mount Beavertown boy, I think, may have just taken a look out wide to see what happened, shied a little bit, and she fell off too.
Yeah, drama after the line. You could just see obviously with times ticking out wide, he's just steered into the other horses, and that's when the slip has occurred. And Lily Sutherland's horse has just spooked or jinked slightly, as you'd call it, and that's resulted in her becoming dislodged. Most importantly, all horses and riders are A-OK. They all went on to ride for the rest of the day, and on a meeting between the jockeys, they decided the track was safe.
Well, he was out very, very wide and on the finishing line. It's a pretty easy place to avoid if they needed to anyhow. Just the way that he just sort of looked, it was very, it was pleasing to hear that there were no repercussions from that.
Yeah, something could have seriously gone wrong, but we're very lucky that they didn't. We can head across the ditch to Australia and look at one race in particular, and this was a bit of Kiwi bred success. Tavi Time and Osipenko, the Kiwi bred Quinella.
Yeah, nice result for the son of Tavistock, a 5-year-old trained by Chris Lees. Had the pleasure of just the 53 kilos. Has been lumping around some big weights of late, and with the 53 kilos was able to do a nice job, was quite well performed during that spring period in Sydney with a 4th in the big dance. Obviously now has won 8 from 18. And for a first try at the 2,000 metres, a very, very creditable effort, and a really fun performer for Connections, because sort of can race between the 1,400 metres right up to the 2,000 metres. So it's given Connections a lot of enjoyment. A really interesting pedigree as well, Aidan, being out of Group 1, winning Telegraph Mare in Jessopina. So a really interesting New Zealand pedigree too.
Yeah, so bred by Sir Peter Valla, and obviously he raced Jessopina out of the stable of Stephen Ramsey and Julia Ritchie back in the day. James McDonald came over and won that Telegraph, and Sir Peter obviously still the breeder of this one as well. So yeah, really nice performance, and that's probably the big race out of Australia on a Boxing Day, isn't it? You know, they probably sit back and say, oh, what's on in New Zealand? That's where the good racing is.
Yeah, I think they get a really good crowd on Boxing Day at Randwick. I think it was pretty hot there yesterday, but it's not the quality of the racing, it's more for the day out, I think.
They want to be watching 19-year-old young batsmen instead.
He was pretty good. It looked like an incredible day there, I must say. They got a big old crowd, and we're going to take a break here on Wayne. On the other side of the break, we look at some unsung heroes of this industry.
I wanna float in space with the music out. I wanna dance away these days.
Starting gate attendants, they're critical to every racecourse around the country.
They are definitely the unsung heroes of the racing industry.
Putting themselves in confined spaces around powerful animals, all in the aim of getting them in and out safely.
Ready now. Gates open, they're up.
You just got to be aware of what's going on all the time. You know, even if it's not your horse, you've got to keep an eye on everything. Yeah, you don't want to see anyone get hurt, you don't want to see horses get hurt. So it's just making things go as smoothly as you can.
Horses and jockeys arrive at the gates up to 5 minutes before start time. From there, it's like clockwork.
Inside gate. Ready, gates open, they're off.
There's shutters, guys that will close the gates, and then there's leaders. And then so we'll be given our numbers, our jockeys, and which gates they go into. And we usually have a crew on the inside and a crew on the outside. And we work out, so we keep out of each other's way. And then we just go in order and as quickly as we can, really, and try and get everyone organised and everyone coming up. So it's efficient, because we've basically got to go on start time.
Some can largely be left to prepare on their own. Others...
Stop.
They deal with what other people don't see, and without them, these horses wouldn't be running for what we have in our increased prize money, and the safety of the jockeys as well. Like, that's paramount. Yeah, they are a big part of it.
It cannot be said and pointed out enough how important they are. They're what keeps the horses safe in the gates. They're what keeps us safe and make sure we can run the race. I don't know, I can't count how many times I count myself very lucky to have had good barrier staff, and the barrier staff here in New Zealand, they're excellent.
And without them, race days wouldn't be able to happen. Yeah, thanks to Dale, Stephen and the team for having us out there at Pukekohe a couple of weeks ago. They really do an amazing... I mean, you watch it often, obviously, on TV, but being right up there, and the horses are massive animals. They're very powerful. They've got to look after the animals. They've got to look after the jockeys. It's a big job.
It's a really cool piece. Nicely done too. It was one of the first things that I did at Waikato Times. Actually, it was very similar. Went out and did a piece and wrote it with the various staff, and they're grateful too for you shining the light on what is basically unsung work, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible, the work that they do. They're the eyes, the ears, the people that are seeing things happen before they unfold, and they can legitimately save someone's life. If you're trapped in the barriers with a horse, it's ending one way, and that's badly.
Have you been sort of led into the barriers and things by the barrier staff? You've had trials or jump outs?
No, never had a trial. Jump outs, maybe. Yeah. The official jump outs at Cambridge, obviously, maybe ridden in those, where they've done amazing work. And working with the young horses, it takes patience, it takes time, it takes skill, and full credit to them. They deserve every accolade they get.
Pretty confined space in those barriers, so when they're moving around all over the place, not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. That leads us nicely into our moments of the week. Emily, I'm going to come to you first because yours links nicely to that.
Perfect segue into my moment of the week, which is a shout out to all the unsung heroes in our industry who work tirelessly over the Christmas period. For a lot of people, it's all about resting and relaxing with family and enjoying a meal and spending time away from work. But for everybody in our industry, whether you work here at trackside or whether you work hands-on with the horses as as a strapper or you're a trainer or you're a barrier attendant, Christmas is about working harder than you probably work all year. So a shout out to them. They're doing it for little credit, and it doesn't go unnoticed.
Mine was yesterday, and it came in the Zabeel Classic. Snazzytavi and La Crique going toe-to-toe. Two of our best mares, arguably the best mares in the country, going toe-to-toe with each other. And for Cambridge Stud as well, who gives so much to this industry, to get their win on a fantastic mare who I think we all love a star in racing, don't we? And I just hope that she can continue to go on to bigger and better things as well. But as we mentioned already, La Crique as well, she was superb. So, yeah, that was my moment, seeing them go head-to-head. Aidan, your moment of the week. I think we're about to cop it, aren't we?
Yeah, I watched Wayne last week, sniggering away to myself, because I think we got some footage of it too. We not. They didn't do it. Or maybe can you guys put on those silly jumpers again and just relive it? And then I don't know if you saw Sunday session, but Philippa Morris, she put on this Christmas tree hat thing. It was like a helmet. It was hilarious. So to watch you guys, and I know it's in the fun of Christmas, the Christmas spirit. But man, it gave me a little Christmas spirit. I know who's coming on the pre-Christmas show next year. It's Aidan Ridley. Yeah. Did you notice that I was meant to be on for that show, but I just
the silly jumpers? I thought we pulled them off. All right.
I feel a bit nude without
mine today. Without my hat and
You
my
can put it back
jumper.
on again, Guy. I welcome it. I thought Bevan Sweetie was fantastic.
Yeah.
He bought into it superbly. All right, Weight Watchers, please, Aidan.
Where did I go? I went to, earlier in the day, Grongolo. I thought really superb performance. Coming back from, what was it, an injury break to win fresh up. They'd obviously had the horse ready to go, start 10, this is win 4, and did it really nicely on the clock going through sectionals. I thought was probably the best sectionals with the way that race was run all day.
Mine's not really a Weight Watch or a black booker because it won so decisively, but I think Ramala is a very exciting 2-year-old that we can follow, and love the way this horse has done that on debut. That only bodes for some very exciting things in the future.
I like one that always comes with a huge run, Confiance. Put that as my black booker earlier, and that came out and won in a similar style to Unequivocal, who ran home superbly yesterday, got way back in the stayers race, ran home superbly, and I'm hoping it follows in the way that Confiance did, and in its next start comes out and wins for us. That is it for weigh-in today. Thanks very much for joining me the day after Boxing Day, folks. It's been good to see you. We won't do a weigh-in this coming Sunday. Our next weigh-in will be on January the 5th. Hope you have a great New Year. Stay safe, enjoy it. If you're going to the New Year's races, rip in, grab a winner or two, and we'll see you when we see you on January the 5th. Thanks for joining us.